Today I'm going to review Life of Pi by Yann Martel, the audiobook version. And this book came out about 20 years ago and was later made into a movie. I've never checked out the movie. I've seen the book around for years, and you can't forget this cover. There's a picture of a tiger in a lifeboat. Certainly a memorable cover, and I've seen it around, but I've never had a chance to check it out, so I thought I finally would see what all the hype was about. And I wanted to review this audiobook for you all. So, Life of Pi is the story of Pi. And Pi is a nickname. It's short for Paskeen Malatar Patel. And Pi grows up in Pondicherry, India. His dad is a zookeeper. And so Pi and his brother, Ravi, spend a lot of time in the zoo. Pi particularly spends a whole lot of time observing animals, understanding animals, trying to observe animal behavior. And his dad actually teaches both him and his brother some important lessons as they are kids, that animals are to be respected, that they can be dangerous. But Pi grows up, and as he gets into high school, he's a thinker, he's pretty intellectual, he's philosophical, and he starts practicing three different religions: Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam. Does not tell his parents about that, but at first, but he's practicing all three of these religions, and kind of tells you the type of person that he is. But the majority of this book takes place after the story sets with just him growing up in India, and the family, when Pi is in high school, decides to move to Canada. They're going to sell their animals and move to Canada. And so they board a cargo ship. And along their journey, the ship hits a storm and actually sinks. And Pi is thrown into a lifeboat. And several animals also are able to make it to the lifeboat as well. And so the rest of the story is a story of Pi trying to survive in the lifeboat. And of course, one of the animals that makes it to the lifeboat is a tiger, and the tiger's name is Richard Parker. And so there is actually some comedy involved in this book. It's not just, it's pretty suspenseful from that aspect of it, but there's also a bit of comedy involved with the book as well. So makes it a very enjoyable listen. So I enjoyed this listen. This is actually a map of where Pondicherry, China was. I thought that was China, India. I thought that was interesting. All right, so I want to read you a quote from this book just to give you a sense of the writing of Yann Martel. And this is a quote about survival. Life is so beautiful that death has fallen in love with it, a jealous, possessive love that grabs at what it can. But life leaps over oblivion lightly, losing only a thing or two of no importance, and gloom is but the passing shadow of a cloud. So I thought that was a pretty cool quote there from the book. And so, yes, I really enjoyed this book. And one thing about the book is that the story can be enjoyed just from the story itself. And I'll say this about the book. I really liked it for a while. I thought it was good. I wasn't in love with the book. I didn't think it was incredible, but I thought, yeah, this is interesting. It's keeping my interest. I like it. And it's definitely engaging, as it tells a story of Pi's survival story. But the end of the book is fantastic. And so that really bumped it up a couple notches in my mind. So I thought it had a great ending. And this book, which you come to realize can be appreciated on just the basic level. It's a survival story. It's very engaging. It's interesting. And then it can also be appreciated on a much deeper level, more of a philosophical level. So that aspect of the book is probably why I got so much attention. It's a very good listen. And so I rated this story 4 stars, thought it was a very good listen. I haven't talked about the narration yet. The narrator was Jeff Woodman. He does a number of books on Audible, and he's the main narrator, but Alexander Marshall also helps narrate this book. And the narration is very good. I can still hear the voice in my head of Richard Parker. Pi talks to Richard Parker quite a bit when he's in the lifeboat, so I can hear Richard Parker, Richard Parker, Richard Parker over and over again. As could be imagined if you're in a lifeboat with a tiger. Um, but overall, this was a good listen. Very well done. 4 stars. I want to mention one more thing about the narration. I checked this book out from my library on Overdrive, and so the version I got was with Woodman. But there's actually another version with Vicus Adam, and he does quite a few books. And I've heard a couple of his narrations before. Very good narrator. So I am pretty sure this narration would be excellent as well. And I can see from the comments on Audible that a lot of people really liked Adam's narration. And I can tell you, after listening to a couple other books by him, including one called A Long Way Home, which is the basis for the movie Lion. It's a true story. It takes place in India and Australia, actually, but it's a very, very good book. Um, he did an excellent job in that book. So I can only imagine that he also did an excellent job with Life of Pi. But anyways, I don't think you can go wrong with the narration. The narration I listened to was good. And I think this other narration by Adam is also very good. So you will probably like this book if you're in the mood for something that is thought-provoking and philosophical. As I've said, it's a good story on the surface, but it also has a deeper side to it, which is pretty interesting. Makes the story really interesting. If you're in the mood for a suspenseful adventure, you'll like it. Now, another thing I haven't talked about, the author of this book, Yann Martel, to research this book, spent a couple years in India. And part of his research was just going around to zoos in India and just watching animals, oftentimes at sunset, and just observing their behavior and probably writing it down. I don't know that for sure, but I would think just really taking notes and just really observing their behavior. And seemed like he's pretty meticulous about that because it comes out in this book. And that is another aspect of this book, which makes it pretty interesting. Is that he includes a whole lot of just observations about animals, and it's obvious he understands animal behavior pretty well. So that is another interesting story in this interesting aspect of this book. And you'll like this book if you're just in the mood for something that's just a bit offbeat. I think you'll like the book. It's not a regular, normal story. And if you just want to listen to a survival story and see if that's something you're in the mood for, obviously this book would appeal to you as well. So recommend this book. It's a good one, so check it out.